would like to call this December 17th, 2013 Board Assessment Review meeting to order. May we have a roll call? Who's present, please?
Mrs. Fuente?
Here.
Mr. Herrick?
Here.
Mr. Peoples?
Here.
Mr. Parkinson?
Here.
May we rise and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to thank you all for being here on this semi-snowy day. Pales in comparison to this one we had on the weekend. Item 4 on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from December 10th, the Board of Assessment Review meeting. Does anybody have any questions on the minutes? You have a motion to accept.
A motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, any discussion on them?
I was satisfied that they were complete.
Okay, Chris, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all right. All in favor, accepting the December 10th minutes? Okay, approved. All right, which brings us to the main item for this agenda is the findings of facts for Attorney Shumadine's appeal and the consolidated Pine Point, Higgins Beach, Pillsbury Shores. And Derwood?
Okay, good evening. Before you is a draft set of findings of facts that I prepared at your request. Your last meeting was on November 26th. At that time, you deliberated for quite a while about the evidence that you'd heard on 3 prior public hearings. So what I attempted to do was to put that down in writing as I heard the comments, in maybe instances where I've added to or enhanced some of the comments that were made. So what I would ask you to do is to go through each and every word of what has been written and give me feedback, which I can then change. As you know, under your rules, the secretary can designate someone, and that would be me, to write the findings, and that's what I've done. But the bottom line is these need to be your findings, not my findings, and there's no pride in authorship. Before, you seem to be coming towards a consensus as to how this appeal would turn out, but if there's something or your thinking has changed, it's not too late, because you didn't actually vote last time on the appeal. So it's important to take the findings and the really basic ones, like the names of the people and the dates. I think you could vote on those as a block, but in terms of the more substantive ones where you're making the determinations about the evidence, I would encourage you to consider them individually and vote on them individually. The case law in Maine suggests that's what should be done. I know that sounds a little bit tedious. You've done it before, and you could maybe one person could kind of get on a roll of saying, I make a motion in a second, then you get your discussion set up, and then at that point I can change it, we can delete it, we can make up another one. Just because we've got X number of potential findings and conclusions here doesn't mean there can't be more or less. So that's all I would say for introduction. I'm happy to walk you through this sort of page by page, if that's what you think would be appropriate.
In a minute, I think John has a question.
Yeah, I just have a question. I know at the end of the meeting there was some discussion about members possibly sending something to Derwood in writing.
No, we discouraged it. None of that happened.
Okay.
All that has happened, just to be, as I use that word, transparent, totally transparent. The only person that I've sent the draft to is the chairman, and I sent that. I wasn't then the draft went from the chairman to the rest of the board. But there hasn't been any dialogue between the board members about this, and there hasn't been any dialogue with me about this, other than the chairman and I talking over the phone one time about the process.
Okay, and I was wondering if it'd be possible for us to have a copy to follow along, or is that?
I think that sounds logical and reasonable, but because it's not it's only a draft, I think it's not a good practice to be passing out drafts. Obviously, you're going to have the opportunity to be listening. I'm not sure that the board will give you the opportunity to comment, but I'll leave that to you, Mr. Chairman. But I think it's to be discouraged.
No, I think preliminarily we can have some questions. I think that's appropriate, but once we get going and comment, I've closed the hearing for that.
I understand that. I wasn't actually talking about that. I was more talking about whether we get to look along as the board does its deliberations with the draft. That was what I think he asked you about.
And I also think that the part about sending in us other comments, came from me, I think, at the end of the meeting, and that was discouraged by Derwitz, so that I thought it was a good idea at the time, but
it's sort of a good idea, but the problem is then you get this other kind of record going, which isn't a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't we take them? I know basically this the finding of facts that you have down here mainly came from the deliberations that we had on November 26th, and some of the points individually that we made as a board. So, and you kind of encapsulated them.
Right.
And so now we're going to go through them.
The form is kind of the format that you've seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little more beefed up because of the kind of the sophistication of this appeal. There's a lot more to it than the others. Not that the others weren't complicated, but this, because of its size, was more complicated.
Okay, so why don't we go through them, Joe?
Okay, just the general information at the top, that these are consolidated appeals, Pine Point, Higgins Beach, and Pillsbury Shores. And incidentally, if you want to just interrupt me in mid-sentence, that's fine. It's not like one of those stories or something like you got to wait to the end. Just speak up. It's really not a problem. By agreement with the appellants listed in Exhibit A, so the Exhibit A is a list of the 43 people, and that Exhibit A is from John's letter of August, like 7th or something like that. And I conferred with John afterwards, or beforehand, and he said that is still the current list of appellants. By agreement with the appellants, the Scarborough Board of Assessment Review, that's you, and the Scarborough Assessor's Office. And throughout I start calling the Scarborough's Assessor's Office the assessor. So that's actually collectively the assessment office. Then later on, I sometimes refer to Mr. Lesperance and Mr. Healy. But when I'm saying the assessor, I'm meaning the office that basically put out the reval and the assessment that's involved. The board considered the appeal of 43 property owners at Higgins Beach, Pine Point, and the Pillsbury Shores neighborhoods on a consolidated basis. In other words, it's always been the agreement that they'd be heard as one, but it's also important to have a record of these individual property owners and their tax and map lot numbers, and that's attached as Exhibit A. The appeals were filed on a timely basis. I don't think that there was any question that that was true. The appeal centers solely upon the question of whether the 2012 revaluation and the 2012-13 assessments on the appellant's properties were discriminatory. Public hearings on the consolidated appeals were held on the following dates: August 19th, September 23rd, October 15th. The board deliberated on the consolidated appeals on November 26th and December 17th. Those dates seem right to you, Tracy?
December 7th. Oh,
that's today.
Yeah. Yep.
Board members present. Board members Alan Peoples, Kathy Fuente, and Chris Herrick were present at each of the hearings and the deliberation sessions. Board member John DuPont resigned prior to the December 17th, 2013 meeting. I'm not sure exactly what day he resigned, but it was prior to this meeting, and he's not participating. By agreement, the time frame for issuance of the BOAR decision under the statute was extended. That was the whole thing we did multiple times, where we had to extend the time to file or give the answer, and this was something that the appellants agreed to. Because if you'd not extended it, it would have been considered a denial. So
Do we need a date there?
I think it was, the last one was through January 31st. I think you sent a letter. But I honestly don't, I'd have to go through my records.
I think we should put a date there, just for
Okay.
the record.
I'll dig it up then. You stipulated through January 31st.
I don't recall actually whether it was that or...
You're gonna say December 31st?
Well, the letters, I think, I know it's
I thought you get a
January.
letter saying January 31st, but I don't,
It might very well have been, I just can't.
I can dig that out, and then on the
Okay.
next, we'll find that date. I don't wanna slow down this process.
Are we sure about those those dates, 8/19, 9/23, and 10/15? 8/19's a Monday. I just don't remember it being a
We did
Monday.
meet on a Monday.
We did? All right.
It was a Monday that you didn't have a conflict with, yeah, we did.
Okay, we did? All right, all right,
I went through all my notes, and those were the
Okay.
dates.
all right.
Yeah.
Usually what I do wrong on the
usually
notes
have
is put the
another
wrong year
board.
We
down.
usually have another board on with it,
Right,
but
and
yeah,
that board
so,
wasn't
all right.
meeting.
All right, well, okay.
The appellants were represented by John Schumedine, the assessor by Robert Crawford, and the BOAR by me. Under the BOAR's rules of procedures and standards, the assessor's presentation is made first, followed by the appellants and then rebuttal. The it's called the board, received and considered numerous written exhibits which were entered into the record without objection. The board heard oral testimony from Paul Lesperance, the former assessor now serving as special deputy assessor, George Koudalakis, the appellant's expert, William Healy, the current assessor. Based on the board's evaluation of the evidence on the record, it makes the following findings.
All right, do we need to,
Do we need
Yeah,
to
you could
close that
adopt
first
that,
part?
all the above if you want to.
yeah, right now, I think
Okay.
we should,
Yeah.
that
Or not.
preliminary introduction part,
Motion.
do you have any questions about that?
I would just motion to accept it with the date inserted.
The date of the extension, and we'll dig that up.
Okay.
That Durwood would put in the date that it was, extended to.
So then we second, then we can discuss, correct?
Right.
Yep.
So I'll second.
Okay. Discussion? Discussion on any of this, Kathy? Okay. No discussions? All in favor of accepting this introduction part as read and noted with the date needed to be inserted? Raise your hand for A. All right. 3 yeas, no nays. Passed, okay?
Okay, we can go on that. The appeal concerns 43 properties. This is paragraph 1 on page 2, the numbered paragraph 1. The appeal concerns 43 properties. 30 of the properties are located in the Pine Point and Pillsbury Shore neighborhoods. 11 of these front directly upon the ocean, and the remainder are interior lots in close proximity to the ocean within the Pillsbury Shore subdivision. The assessor refers to Pillsbury Shores as a water affinity neighborhood. All of the Higgins Beach properties directly front on the ocean. Maybe the Pillsbury Shores is not, because there's some on the water, right?
Yes, there's some on the
So-
water, so that was my...
Maybe it refers to the interior portion
Right.
as water affinity. Water affinity neighborhood.
Do we like Finnish?
Okay, do you want to look?
Can we just keep
No,
rolling?
I mean, that's in the
Um,
quotes, but affinity, I don't even remember hearing.
No, me neither.
Yeah, why don't we do
Not that
that?
way.
We'll read a few more.
Okay, the assessor,
Actually, can we go back?
yeah,
The water affinity,
that's the term.
it's in quotes. Yeah, I don't remember that quote, to be honest with you. I mean, is that,
Well, that's something that Attorney Crawford used that term,
Okay,
and,
all right.
and,
I mean, I agree with what you're
assessors
saying.
use that term, and then, I think the state uses a slightly different term, like water influenced or,
Water influence.
That's what I keep going. I mean, but
Yeah.
that's fine if, yeah. I agree with the thought process.
okay. But it's in the record.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Number 2.
The assessor continually tracks 300 or so sales and transfers occurring in the town of Scarborough each year. The assessor completes studies of assessments, sales price ratios, maybe it should be assessment singular, sales price ratios, both on a town-wide and neighborhood basis to keep the ratio as close to 100% as possible.
Okay with that? Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Number 3.
I could see something on number 4 I need to change.
Yep.
It should say, instead of in 2002, it should be in 2012, or on beginning of paragraph 4.
We're on number 3.
Oh,
Yeah, do number
okay. You okay with number 3?
No, you haven't said it.
Okay, the last townwide revaluation occurred in 2005.
That's a fact, all right? So, yep, 4.
In 2012, it should say, not 2005. Paul Lesperance revaluated waterfront properties at Higgins Beach, Pine Point, and the interior portion of Pillsbury Shores. Land values were increased uniformly by 20% at Higgins Beach, 25% at Pine Point, and 17% for the interior lots at Pillsbury Shores. Lesperance presented credible evidence that sales data supported the increased assessment for these properties.
Okay.
Should we go?
25, 17.
Can I have a comment? To the chair.
Any comments?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know, I think something after in 2012, it's, I don't know, like after his analysis of sales data, Paul Lesperance reevaluated the waterfront.
Okay.
If we could, after the analysis of sales data, Paul
Okay.
Lesperance reevaluated waterfront properties. I don't know how anybody else feels.
Yeah, no, that's
No, I like
a good comment.
Could have a
Agree
discussion.
with that.
After analysis of sales data, Paul Lesperance in 2012, move it over there,
Yeah.
reevaluated waterfront properties at Higgins Beach, Pine Point, and the interior portion of Pillsbury Shores.
Well, we also did waterfront on Pillsbury Shores. Pillsbury Shores had
And the waterfront,
waterfront and
Yes,
interior parts.
yes, yes,
Hmm.
yeah. And so was that increased?
Could you rephrase, could you read that again, please?
Paul Lesperance in 2012 reevaluated waterfront properties at Higgins Beach, Pine Point, and the interior portion of Pillsbury Shores. Is the waterfront portion of Pillsbury Shores considered
Pine Point?
Pine Point?
Well, I think the whole area is considered, Pine Point is
Yeah.
a big area, but,
Can we just leave it
Pine
at?
Point waterfront and the interior portions of Pillsbury Shores.
Yeah, it says what it says, waterfront properties at Higgins Beach, Pine Point.
Okay, yeah, okay. That would probably cover it then.
Lesperance presented credible evidence that sales data supported the increased assessment for these properties.
Any other comments?
Do you want to kind of keep rolling through, then maybe come back and vote on them?
No, why don't we
Kinda
just
gonna
take
save
them right
Yeah.
here before we get too far
Okay.
down the road?
All right.
Time.
All right, we have 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. When we take them collectively, we can break them up individually a little bit as we get deeper into this.
I'll motion on these 4 with the changes that we just discussed.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. Any discussion, further discussion on it? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, raise your hand. None opposed? Okay, passed.
Number 5. In his opinion, based upon 29 years of experience as assessor, there was insufficient sales data to justify increasing the assessments for inland properties at Higgins Beach and Pine Point.
See, that's
comments?
No,
Okay.
What was your question?
I just have to keep wrapping my head around which ones were interior, exterior.
Right.
Oh.
It's so much of it, so long.
5 point for waterfront.
That was a lot.
Because I'd hate to make a
Mistakes. I
mistake on, a logistical,
Right.
not ideological, but logistical mistake on that.
You all set, Chris?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. 6,
The sales data summary submitted into evidence by the assessor support less, for instance, decisions.
all right. 7,
The board agreed with the assessor that the values of the interior properties located at the Pillsbury Shores subdivision have traditionally maintained their property values stronger than other inland properties.
Bless you.
Thank you.
bless you. How about, and maybe wordsmithing a little bit, but here, how about, maintain stronger property values than other inland
Yeah.
properties?
Good one.
And do you think of, replacing Pillsbury Shores with water influenced or water affinity properties?
Well, I think what we're trying to get across is he reassessed the interior portion of Pillsbury Shores as opposed to the interior of Higgins
Okay.
and Pine Point,
Okay.
saying that they're
Okay.
sort of a different thing, different animal. It's not a great analogy, different animal.
So will you read that sentence there for us?
The board agreed with the assessor that values of the interior properties located at Pillsbury Shores, at the Pillsbury Shores subdivision have traditionally maintained their property values
Maintain
have maintained stronger property values than other inland properties.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, 8?
On a townwide basis, Les Burns testified that he reduced assessments in other areas if the sales data established a trend of lower sales prices. Several condominium developments saw their land value assessments reduced in 2012.
Any other comments?
I'm fine with that one.
Okay, so that's the other 4, and we stop there and vote on 5, 6, 7, and 8 as, we have a motion.
Motion as with the minor changes we've made.
Okay.
I'll
and
second.
we're in a second. All right, any further discussion on item number 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, and 8? All right, hearing none. All in favor of accepting the findings of facts of number 5, 6, 7, and 8? Please raise your hand. All right, none opposed? All right, passed. All right.
Okay, 9, assessments were not reduced or increased based merely upon one sale or sales where special circumstances may have influenced the price, such as significant renovations or an estate sale. Assessments were reduced on a townwide basis many more times than they were increased. Maybe those should be broken up.
Yeah, I think it's kind of wordy, that many more times thing.
How about taking out the word many?
Yeah, you take out the word many.
It's like saying very. How about if we break those two up too, those concepts, make that a different number?
Yeah, 9 and 10, 10 would be assessments.
Or maybe you don't want to do that because that's going to really mess us up
Yeah,
with
that'll
our
mess that
discussion.
up.
Right.
Oh, for the rest of them, yeah.
I can make that change later.
Yeah.
What if
Yeah,
we
I
just
don't
said,
think it's necessary that we even have to make it.
Okay.
I mean,
what if we just said, again, so as such as significant renovations or estate sale period, many assessments were decreased on a townwide basis, or do we even need to have that last sentence in there? I guess it was more times than they were increased, they were decreased, but I guess.
That's what he testified, but it's
Yeah,
up to
he
you
did
to
say that.
decide whether you think that is important to your decision or not. Actually, what this case is about, not the town so much up or down, it's about
That
this
specific
group of
area.
people.
Of people,
So maybe it's,
right.
Yeah.
just extra.
I mean, I like the idea of having it in there that, yes, we realize that he did say, and he did lower some. I guess it's fine as is. I mean, it's, the assessments were
I'm just
reduced on
wondering
a
if it
townwide
really
basis
is
more.
I don't think it's germane.
It
More
doesn't-
often than
more
they were.
time-
Not really
more,
for the
no,
case.
it doesn't,
Not-
it doesn't make sense to me.
What if I strike it?
To me, to me,
Yeah,
it's just saying he reduced assessments more often, and I don't,
That's
we
not
don't
really
strike it.
what the question is. How many?
Right.
I think that
increase.
does speak to what we're,
Are we striking it?
the case, yeah. Striking it.
From assessments, that last,
Yeah.
The last sentence.
Sentence.
That last sentence in paragraph 9 is
Yeah.
gonna be deleted.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Kathy?
Yes.
All right.
Keep
Ten.
going. Based upon the sales data, Les Burns does not believe the recession beginning in 2008 had a major impact on the sales prices of waterfront properties within the town of Scarborough.
I
That's fine
think we
with
went
me.
over that a lot,
Yeah.
specifically waterfront
I'm fine
properties.
with that.
I didn't use the term Great Recession.
No, thank you.
Maine Revenue Services, not to be confused with the Bureau of Taxation. I learned something that they changed their name.
Changed the name, right.
Maine Revenue Services reviewed the data for 2012 assessments in the town of Scarborough and found that the town's assessment methodology was sound and acceptable. This is evidenced by the favorable, quote, quality rating assigned to these assessments. The quality rating, also referred to as the coefficient of disbursement, I definitely put that in quotes,
yeah.
not words I use every day, is a mathematical formula used by MRS to review local assessments for overall accuracy and compliance with state legal standards.
I think that's fairly accurate.
Yeah, very straightforward.
While, should I move on to 12?
Oh,
While the findings of MRS support the revaluation of appellant's properties in 2012, the board is not relying exclusively upon any of its conclusions in making its findings and decision in this matter.
I definitely agree with that one.
you all set with that one?
I think that's
Absolutely.
good. Yeah, I like that one.
13, the board did not accept the testimony of appellant's expert, George Koudalakis, as persuasive enough to rebut the assessor's analysis. Mr. Koudalakis' testimony did not include an analysis of all relevant factors connected to property sales, such as estate sales or whether the properties had substantial renovations. He also omitted relevant comparable sales without proper explanation. I need to eliminate the word were.
Yep.
You know, let me read that again for you.
Yeah, I got it.
I think we all got it. Any, everybody agree with that one? All right, I think that was,
Can we
I
vote
think
on
we,
these?
I think we talked a lot about that.
We did.
On the last meeting about,
We did.
what was brought up and what wasn't, more importantly, I guess, what wasn't brought up too,
Yep.
for us. Okay, so why don't we take those 4 right there?
That's 5, 9, 10.
Five, yeah.
Pardon? 5?
It's
Yeah,
5.
9, excuse me, 9 through 13. And, so a motion,
I'll motion to approve those with the changes we discussed. Is there
okay?
a better way to say that?
A second?
Second?
All right, Kathy, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, finding of fact? All right, hearing none, all in favor of accepting them? All right, none opposed, it's carried. Okay, 14.
The board accepted as credible the testimony of the current assessor, William Healy, that when questionable sales were excluded, the assessment sales ratios came close to 100% and the quality ratings improved.
I had a note on that one. Should we be more specific about when they were excluded from what?
I would say closer to 100%, not,
Closer. Questionable sales were excluded from Mr. Koudalakis's analysis?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that we came on the
Thank you.
heels of
Yeah.
that, right?
Right.
yeah.
Okay, any other questions on that?
I'm probably being picky, but I would
Pick
like
away.
it to say
Pick.
ratios came closer to 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got that.
I think
Oh,
that's,
okay.
I think
All right.
that's
Grammatically correct.
feedback I need. Keep going?
Yes, 15.
The board concluded that the assessor's appraisal techniques were thorough and well-grounded in expert assessing methodology.
Yep.
All right,
Now, some of this, we're gonna get back into specifics, but, some of these wordy sentences have to do with your standards, you know, how we've made some motions before.
Right.
So don't blame me for the, you know, the how kind of long there, because they track your standards. The board concluded that the assessors, 16, the assessor did not use systematic or intentional methods to create a disparity. And further, the methodology or assumptions relied upon by the assessor were not unfounded or arbitrary. I'm sort of throwing in a bunch of the
Yeah.
standards.
No, that's good.
and that should be.
And you could play that around with that.
To not use systematic or intentional methods to create a disparity, and further, that the methodology. Yeah,
That the
okay, yeah,
methodology.
Yeah, right, okay. Okay, questions? Okay,
No.
you all set, Kathy?
Yeah, after disparity, to create a disparity in assessments
Yes,
or in valuations, I'd like to see.
evaluations.
In evaluations, better word. Yep, good.
Okay. Keep going. This is,
17.
the board questioned the assessor's excess land assessment policy under which the abutting lot in single ownership is assessed at a significantly lower value. The board's primary concern was that the second lot reduction must be requested and that this policy may not be widely known in town. Based upon the record evidence, however, the board concluded that the actual impact of this policy was minor and did not make the assessments discriminatory.
Well said.
Okay, that was one of my concerns about getting this known. It shouldn't be requested, so I'm okay with that.
Do we want to do those four?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Thank you, Chris. 14, 15, 16, and 17.
A motion to accept them with the changes discussed?
Okay. Second?
Second?
All right, Chris, thank you. We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion on these? All right, hearing none. All in favor of accepting 14 through 17? No nays? Accepted. Thank you.
Next,
18.
18, while there may have been errors in the assessment process, the board concluded they were isolated and did not, and I just added this, and did not affect the overall fairness of the assessments. After isolated and did not affect the overall fairness of the assessments.
Can we use the word equity,
Equity. Yep.
please? Anybody?
Yeah, that's probably a better word.
Overall equity?
Did
Yeah.
not affect the overall equity.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
that's
like
better
that.
than fairness is.
Yep.
Thank
Fair-
you.
fair-
The overall equity, what was the last few words?
Of the assessment.
Of the assessment.
Yeah. Good comment.
All right.
Keep going. Appellants did not meet the high burden. 19, the appellants did not meet the high burden necessary to establish discrimination.
Not be the high burden of proof
High
necessary.
burden of proof, I'm sorry. High burden of proof necessary to establish discrimination.
Okay.
20, appellants did not prove that the town's assessment system by its nature will result in unequal apportionment of the tax burden, or that the assessments in this case were manifestly wrong.
Okay?
Yep.
All right.
The board concluded, 21, the board concluded based upon all the evidence that the assessments were equitable.
Okay, any questions?
No.
We need to add something about, also, the board allowing me to sign, finding of...
Yeah, I got that at the end here.
Oh, I see that, yeah.
Let me move that up and make that a 21.
Yeah, usually 22.
Yeah, I mean, make that a 22. The board authorized Chairman Peoples to sign this notice of decision.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so let's, take 18 through 22.
A motion to approve, with Kathy's, with the section Kathy
Added on 18?
added on.
Yeah, word equity, yeah.
With the changes?
Yeah, with the changes.
All right, 18 through 22, do I have a second, Kath?
Second, please.
All right, any further comments on them? All right, then hearing none, all in favor of accepting 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 as amended, please raise your hand. We have 3-0, it passed, okay?
Okay, so then, you've adopted all these findings, and so now there needs to be a vote. Based on the above, the board voted blank to blank, to deny the consolidated appeals. So somebody makes a motion to...
All right, someone needs to make a motion there, please.
I would motion to deny.
Okay,
Is that said well enough?
the consolidated appeals.
The consolidated appeals.
All right,
I
second?
will second.
All right. Any discussion on that? Are we ready to vote then? All in favor of denying the consolidated appeals as moved, raise your hand, please. All right, the board voted 3-0 to deny the consolidated appeals. All right. And that would be it.
So I'll get those to you tomorrow, Alan. Or no, I'll give them to Tracy, and then Tracy will get them.
Yep, I'll print them off and have Alan sign them.
And just a reminder that we have had some changes not changes since last meeting, but to update the new dates in the, for in January, we added January 14th, I believe, on your agenda, so we're meeting January 7th.
We did that last
15th,
time, right?
21st, right. I'm just reminding everybody, they're all at 6:30.
Are we doing the 14th? I thought we consolidated the,
No, we are doing the 14th.
okay.
7th, 14th, and 21st, is that correct?
Okay.
Correct. All right, that's it.
I'm sorry.
All right, new business coming before the board, a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Second it, all right. Meeting adjourned, thank you very much, everyone, for coming tonight.